Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of All Four Downs Podcast. I'm your host, OV, with my boy, Hector V. That's right, and we're getting set for not only with the NFL picks with the divisional round this weekend, but also we have a national championship to talk about, and that is in college football. Oh, yeah, we are about to get ready to crown a new era of college football, no other than either Ohio State or Notre Dame. And it's going to be fabulous, man, because I said previously, and I don't know which episode of the podcast that I did for college football, but I did say in one of my opening statements is that this year will be probably the best college football team to win a national championship. And here's why. We have witnessed teams that had to play in the quarterfinals. They had to play in first round, quarterfinals, semifinals, and now the finals. And on top of that, they played 12 regular seasons, right? And I'm going to say both Ohio State and Notre Dame because, one, Notre Dame does not play a conference championship, and Ohio State could not get into a conference championship, right?
Yep.
And 12 plus 4, that's 16 games. And so when you look at it, this is the team that played the most in any college football era that's almost replica to the NFL. And that's why I said you got to go through a lot because now you're playing against elite players. You're playing against teams that now really builds up your strength of schedule, right? Forget about the 12 games. Now your final games are very important.
Right.
And what might seem pretty obvious might not be so. And I can say the same probably to the NFL. What it might look obvious, it might not be. And so there we are. Go ahead and talk about the game, Ohio State versus Notre Dame. Overall, this is going to be their 9th meeting going into in history, period. The first time in a national championship. But Ohio State has won 6 straight games, and they're 6-2. What does that mean? Is that the 2 games happened before our time.
Yeah.
College football was forming to something, and Notre Dame won those 2 games. Now, Ohio State's won 6 in a row, and if you look at it, Ohio State's favored by a large margin. Now, I feel like that's kind of disrespectful, especially what Notre Dame has gone through. Going against all odds and still winning. Ohio State, which usually when they have a good game, they never show up on the next game. That's the problem, right? And here we are. What's going to happen now? Ohio State's favored by 8 points. So it kind of like it fell a little bit, right? By a point and a half or so.
Right.
It's a solid 8 right now, and it could be different come to game time. So
Yeah.
I'm asking you, I know you're a huge Notre Dame fan yourself.
Yeah.
Who do you have going and winning this game?
I'm going with Notre Dame. Okay. But I'm going to take the fact that I am a fan. I mean, yes, I'm a fan. I mean, I've stuck with them since the time that you've known me. I mean, I've seen a lot of ups and downs, and especially that last national championship loss to Alabama. That was heartbreaking. I knew it was going to happen. But this team seems to be different. It seems to me that this team is still not getting no respect. There's no respect on what Marcus Freeman is doing with this team at this point. Okay. they're going to make arguments on the three teams that Notre Dame has defeated: Indiana, Georgia, and Penn State. Oh, they were supposed to win those games. Blah blah blah. Whatever the case may be, I I'm taking Notre Dame because I think they're very smart when it comes to using the clock. Okay, using that clock, they use it well on offense and shorten that game using Riley Leonard efficiently and effectively. Okay, and not too harsh. They can control the ball, the time of possession. They can cut Ohio State's time on that field and tire out that defense. Okay, this is a neutral site, so there's going to be fans on both sides here. So Notre Dame should have their side, of fans to help them, get things going because they know this. They're the David of the Goliath, of this matchup here. Okay, but if speaking, you know what David did to Goliath. Okay, they got to be smart with that ball. They got to be able to know how to work quickly. Don't allow Ohio State to use up that clock and have a lot of offensive plays. If Notre Dame can make this a defensive matchup, this is their game. They're playing 4 quarters and they could come out with the victory. By one score, they will win this game and pull out probably one of the biggest upsets in national championship history.
Like I said, I think it by all means that the winner here will be probably the best college football team ever, right? And I get it. Big Ten school. I think if you look at it as a storyline, and if you covered the whole entire season like I have, I say to myself, the commissioner of the college football playoff committee had they had the Big Ten stacked on, like, the top 5 was all 4 out of the 5 teams were Big Ten, right? And I said to myself, damn, you trying to say the SEC sucks? First of all, I think there's an equivalency between the Big Ten and the SEC because of the transfer portal and everything else. And people's going to argue with me on that, and that's okay. I'll sit down and hear your argument, but I don't think that because of what's going on now, I don't think any conference, and I'm talking about the Big Ten, ACC, the Big 12, right? I think the talent is spreading, and it's pretty much going to get even pretty soon. Yeah. All right. But that's for another one. But for Notre Dame to win the college football playoffs is a smack in the face to the college football committee because they try to stack the Big Ten. Right. And someone's going to say, oh, well, the SEC was trying to get up there too and stuff like that. But the SEC was never higher ranked. The only team really, 2 teams that were trying to get up there was Texas and Georgia.
Yeah.
Okay. So it is what it is. And I'll tell you this, I'm going to root for Notre Dame, but I'm not going to make no mistake about it.
Yeah.
Ohio State is going to be, I do feel, my gut tells me Ohio State is going to win, but I will gladly appreciate Notre Dame defeating Ohio State and just slap the Big Ten in the face and say, slow your roll, hero. I want that to happen. I want them to do the rock. I want them to smell what their rock is cooking. All right.
I mean, yeah, because I think the downfall for Notre Dame is that they're not in a conference. I mean, you saw what happened that one year when they moved.
I think they're more diverse. I'm gonna have to disagree with you.
But the thing is because they don't have a championship game, so it's like they just get thrown into the mix. But you see the dominance of the Irish when you put them in a conference. You see what they did with the ACC.
Right, but hold on. I got to stop you there because we saw Notre Dame in the first round. The first round to me is like this. This is your ticket to come in and enter the college football playoffs. That's how I look at the first round because they ended up playing at the home turf. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, okay, put your money where your mouth is. Go ahead, let's play. And they did.
Yeah, they dominate that game. I mean, the score doesn't justify
every game they dominated when they're what's that called? When they're the underdogs. Okay. and they managed to get by. And you gotta love, and no disrespect to Ohio State,
Yeah.
none whatsoever, because
Right.
Ohio State to me has a better talent. They recruit better, and that defense is flawless. I mean, I'm telling you. But when the game is on the line, we've seen Ohio State what they did the first time against Oregon. They learned their mistake and they took revenge on Oregon. Okay. But they lost to Michigan. And I feel like Notre Dame has a similar defense like Michigan. And if they could control that defense, Ohio State's in trouble. And I would like to answer Joe Pardini's question, because he's like, Notre Dame should win by 20. Ohio State should win by 20. Do you think it's going to be a blowout? We're going to find out the first 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
If the team is at 14-0, you may want to turn off the game, because this is not a Georgia versus Alabama game. It's not going to happen. Okay. He also made a prediction where he says Ohio State is going to win. It's going to be 49-29. Well, I'm going to tell you this. The last time that Ohio State and Notre Dame played was back in 2023, and the final score was 17-14.
Yes.
I don't think that, because of how Notre Dame is built, I don't think this is going to be a high score game.
I think it was like a goal line stance or something that they stopped them and they beat us.
Right. And that was in South Bend. We're now talking about a neutral site right now.
Yeah.
And when it was in a neutral site, this is going to be the third time that Ohio State and Notre Dame face each other in a playoff. I'd say they played twice, two bowl games. Both of them was the Fiesta Bowl, and it was 2006 and 2016. And yes, Ohio State did blow them out. The first time was 14 points. The other time was, I think, 24 points here and there. But I think this one's going to be different. And if the spread was 20, I would definitely go for Notre Dame. Guaranteed. All right. But no, it's at 8. I will say that the most, and I hope this is a good game. I really do. That if Ohio State was to win, the maximum will be by a touchdown.
Right.
Or we could see the same mistake on the previous game. Go figure, right? Ohio State and Texas, where fumble, run it back for a touchdown, and then they win by 14 points. I think that the difference maker is going to be a tight one all the way to within 2 minutes left of the game, and then we'll find out to see who's going to win this game.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Notre Dame learn from Texas' mistakes, because the Irish has the number 1 pass efficiency defense in the FBS.
Right.
Okay, that should mean something against this Ohio State offense. You know, if they can control that, keep that ball on the ground, stay away from the turnovers, because you see what happened with Texas. That turnover cost them. I don't honestly see Ohio State taking down 2 of the best pass efficiency defenses in the league. I don't see a back-to-back that way. I just honestly don't. I do have great confidence that Notre Dame is going to squeak out this victory and prove that they are who they know they are.
And I want you to look at this too, is that Will Howard has given up 10 interceptions this year. Okay, he is prone to turn over the ball. And then you're going against that secondary is sick with Notre Dame. They're quick. Yeah. They are quick. And now I do expect Ohio State to throw the ball faster, shorter passes to try to get yardages.
Yeah.
But Trevion Henderson is an outstanding running back.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot dismiss that. All right. And if they can keep that balance, I'm all, it's going to be long. But at the same time, Notre Dame, your quarterback, I mean, Riley Leonard to transfer from Duke to play the way he plays, it's phenomenal. And he's not scared to run the ball and take hits. No. I like that aggressiveness, and that carries over with the team, right? And Coach Freeman doesn't even look like he's in stress mode. That's what I like about the whole entire playoffs. He's just there. Now, he makes his arguments because there have been calls that should be calls, and there's always like calls against Notre Dame. Like, why are we making this a one-sided game? I hope that does not happen.
Yeah.
And I hope that the referees clean up their act when it comes to penalties, these holding calls, and the like every time there's a big play, there's always a flag, and it's always like that difference maker. So I'm just hoping that this game that's gonna happen, um, it's gonna be a good one. I hope it is. I'm looking forward to it. And whoever wins this game, man, that is a well-deserved championship.
No, definitely. I mean, I'll give my hat to the Buckeyes if they win this. I mean, I'm not gonna sit over, cry over spilled milk. I mean, Notre
So
Dame.
this game is happening on Monday, January 20th, which is also the observation of the Martin Luther King as we celebrate his life, the civil rights and stuff, for all the sacrifice he made for equality. I know his birthday was January 15th, but we still celebrate on Monday. Also on Monday, if I'm not mistaken, is also the inauguration
Yes.
of President Trump. So there's so much going on, but at the end of the night, I'm going to have a great time watching the game of football.
Amen. I'm ready for that too.
I'm ready.
And then we'll be coming off the NFL weekend of divisional games, going right into national championship.
Yes.
And then that leads into the following weekend of
semifinals, right? The AFC, NFC conference and everything else. And that's what we're going to talk about next, coming up right now. All right, we start off with our first game, which is the Chiefs versus the Texans. And I had to do a lot of homework on this, but a lot of people are like, why? Why are you wasting your time doing all this homework? This is an automatic. Is it really automatic? Or can we just remind yourself that anything can happen at any given Sunday?
Yeah, you're right.
Anything
can happen.
Anything. But I'm going to check right now. There is no change when it comes to the spread. Right now, still, the Kansas City Chiefs are favored by 8 points. Okay? I feel like that's a little bit. I feel like it's a little tiny, especially where the Chiefs are rested. The Texans haven't been the same Texans as last year. They tried, they won their game. They won their game. But now it's like a repeat. We're going to see the same game. I just don't think that the Texans have what it takes. Especially the Chiefs defense are going to be very, very prepared this time against the Texans. I'm taking the Chiefs to win. And again, this is their third meeting in the playoffs in the wild card game at Houston, January 9th, 2016. They lost 30-0. Divisional game 2020 was 51-31 in Kansas City. I'm going to take at least 10 points for the Chiefs to beat the Texans.
Fair enough. The Chiefs are well rested. Okay. The Chiefs under Andy Reid has won 6 straight divisional playoff games. I mean, Houston, I'm sorry, this is your Achilles heel. You want to get to the Super Bowl. I'm not talking about the AFC Championship. I mean, you're going to get to the Super Bowl, you got to get through Kansas City. Okay. And right now, I don't think they're fully prepared. Yeah, they had a couple of explosive passes, on offense against the Chargers and stuff, but we're talking
doesn't even come to play, man.
Exactly. This is not compared to what Kansas City is coming with. They got all the tools ready, prime to take on Houston, and they're at home. It's going to be a ruckus crowd over there. And I know the weather's going to maybe a factor. It's going to be pretty cold. Houston's going to come to play, but they're not ready for the AFC Championship game just yet. I'm sorry.
It's going to be 25 degrees. The game is at 4:30 p.m., which is probably what, 2:30 p.m. over there or 3:30. Are there Mountain Time or Central? I think they're Central Time, right? In Kansas City. Yeah.
We're Central time.
I mean, it's 25 degrees with sun. I think it'd be all right. It ain't gonna be that cold. They could run around.
And I believe Hollywood Brown is coming back, is making his return for the Chiefs.
I think
think that adds a little more firepower to what they already have already. So
They're going to be well rested. The Chiefs are well rested, and they're going to welcome in open arms. And the Chiefs will make sure that they go home very happy.
and I think also they're also getting Jalen Watson back on
All right,
defense.
they can
So
bring whoever. Chiefs are still winning,
yeah,
and
Chiefs
they're
are,
chasing history, man. You gotta look at it that way too. They're trying to be the first NFL team to win 3 straight Super Bowls.
yeah, because
So
they'll be the second to go to 3 consecutive if they get there.
yeah, first one, Buffalo Bills.
Yeah,
Anyways, you and I agree the Chiefs. Let's go ahead and move on to the Bills and the Ravens. And again, I'll make some comments here. Joe Pardini, he's on a roll. Buffalo versus Houston in the AFC Championship game. Buffalo versus Houston. If that's his prediction, I need to know why he's picking Houston to
right.
upset Kansas City. I don't know. I don't gamble against Patrick Mahomes,
Yeah,
but it is what it is. But we're in Kansas City. It's outside. There's no dome, no nothing, and we've seen
My,
how the Texans are when they're on the road in the playoffs.
unless your name is Tom Brady or unless you are wearing stripes in Cincinnati, you're not beating Kansas City. I'm sorry.
All right, let's move on to the Bills and the Ravens. This is a pick'em game. It
Yeah,
started at -1, it stayed at 1. Uh Over under is 51.5. So there's going to be some good scoring going on here, but a small percentage is in favor of Buffalo. The people are picking Buffalo, but
right.
the betters is -1 Baltimore.
Yeah.
Ouch. Who do you believe was going to win?
I'm not gonna look at what happened this year in week 4 when Buffalo got ran over by Baltimore. I'm not gonna look at that. What have you done since then? Buffalo has finished 9-0 this year at home. They're 9-0 at home this year. They have not lost a home game. They are, I mean, that includes beating Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This team is a different team than they were in week 4. Yeah, Josh Allen was held to like under 200 passing yards in that loss. The defense, was all over that. No, this is not going to happen again. I'm sorry. Josh Allen is a fine, well-oiled, tuned machine at this point. Okay.
Mm.
Baltimore is coming into this game riding high. We're talking about 2 possible MVP candidates clashing against each other in this game. Yeah, you're right. This is a coin flip, but I am going with Buffalo to edge out Baltimore in this game.
Look, many people will argue with you because you living out Derrick Henry, who last week almost rushed over almost 200 yards, right? And it seems like the duo between him and Jackson are like at the right time, pushing, rushing that ball, getting their yardages, and it's a big difference maker. And that's why the Ravens are on a win streak here. And people feel like the Ravens are going to beat the Bills. So what do you say about that with the Raven or with Derrick Henry?
Yeah, they got the number 1 rushing offense in the league. But I'm telling you, when you have a crowd like what Buffalo having that support,
Mm-hmm.
okay, they're going to do everything in their power to clog up that middle. They're going to still do everything to make sure that Henry does not get anywhere in this game. He's not doing it 2 weeks in a row. I'm sorry. It is not happening. This is not the Pittsburgh Steelers you're dealing with here. Okay. This team could make you do things that you don't want to do, and they're going to force Lamar Jackson to run the ball. And he's going to also find out he's going to get a rude awakening. He's not rushing for almost 80, 100 yards like he did last week. Buffalo's defense is going to jam this offense up and give Josh Allen plenty of time to strike quick.
Well, Joe Bardini says that Buffalo versus Houston is going to be the AFC Championship game. It's crazy that he's picked that, but that could be a possibility. I'm not going to deny that. But if you're picking Buffalo and he's all in on Buffalo, then it's gotta be Buffalo, is what you're saying. All right.
The
Okay.
Ravens defense, their pass defense give up over 250 yards a game. That's
Mhm.
plenty enough for Josh Allen to do what he wants to do in the air. So I got Buffalo.
All right, the last time that the Bills and the Ravens played, and well, this season, the Ravens ended up snapping a 3-game win streak, and that was also a little falling out for Buffalo because they had lost back-to-back games. They lost to the Ravens and the Texans. Go figure, right? And then they went on a win streak, and it was not just any win streak because that during that time the Seahawks were hot, right? They did beat the Chiefs, right? In Buffalo. They beat the 49ers. It was a 44-42 game that they lost to the Rams. They beat the Lions. So their schedule was tough this year. So I'm not gonna discredit anything on that. And you're right. Just because what happened in the first time doesn't mean it's gonna happen again the second time. I am with you. I am taking the Bills to win, and hopefully we get a rematch between the Bills and the Chiefs. Let's go ahead and move on to the next game, the Lions versus the Commanders. And I'm all in right now with the Detroit Lions. I want the Detroit Lions to finally say this year that they made it to the Super Bowl. And if anything, win because their story, like I said, last year, I thought that it was their year. I really did think that they were going to go ahead, but they fell short. This time, they are the number one seed and they're well deserving, and especially them going through injuries, and yet they still winning. And that offense is like no matter the more injuries, the more they score points, but they're also giving up points. That's a scary part right there. Then you look at the Commanders and you look and you say, wow, look at Dan Quinn. He left the Dallas Cowboys as a defensive coordinator, which, by the way, if he would have stayed, the Cowboys would have been in the playoffs. Now I know what they were missing, okay? Because Dan Quinn, his first year with Washington, and he's in the playoffs, a team that was supposed to finish in last place, and they made the playoffs. And then Jalen Daniels, man, like he has that extra gas, like he has this formula. Oh, we might be losing. Hold up. I'm coming, baby. I'm coming. We never give up. It's like John Cena's in that team from the WWE. You can't see me. Don't give up on me. Let's go. Right? You want some? Come get
Yes.
some. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, but all that's going to stop. All that's going to stop. We're in Detroit. Detroit fans are ready. They're waiting to erupt. Lions 0-3 against the Washington Commanders in the playoffs. They're going to erase that deficit. 1983, they lost to Joe Theismann. 1992, Mark Rippon. And Mark Rippon was the quarterback. But Barry Sanders was the running back for Detroit. And what happened? Yeah, you know what happened. They made the playoffs and got ousted in the wild card. In 2000, they made it. Remember Gus Farrow?
Yeah, goes for right. Yeah.
Yeah, Farrot, my bad. And then Brad Johnson was for Washington. Okay. Detroit overall won 6 of the last 7 games. I'm picking Detroit Lions to win.
Oh yeah, I got Detroit too. I mean, we can have questions about the Lions defense being injured, but they've had a lot of time to rest. Um,
I mean, it's still injured. I mean, there's
yeah,
there's their star linebacker there. I think no, I'm sorry. It was a defensive end, right?
yeah, I think.
Hutchinson,
Yeah,
Aiden Hutchinson.
Aiden Hutchinson. Yeah,
He might come back just in time for the Super Bowl, and that's if they reach it. But I mean, you're looking at it right now. I just don't. At this time, I think the brakes will be on the Commanders. Nice run. It's a great story, but you still got to rebuild for next year.
If the
So,
Commanders keep this close, the Commanders do have 6 wins this year when they're tied or trailing into the final moments of the game. If they
mhm.
keep it that close, this could be very dangerous for an upset. This could be. But
Yeah.
hopefully Detroit just go out and they just start burning rubber right off the top to where they're like NASCAR. They have to make a pit stop to get the tires changed because they're just burning so much rubber and they already at the checker flag by halftime. Hopefully that's the case. I'm hoping that's the case.
But
So
the Commanders always find a way to come back. I
I
think Dan
know.
Quinn Dan Quinn learned his lessons with the Falcons when he blew the 25-point lead, because it seems like that's what's happening, and he's telling
Yeah.
the story every week. You know what happened to me? Don't do it.
And
Don't do it to me again.
it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be tough for the Commanders' pass defense to try to shut down Jared Goff, who is exceptional at home this year with 21 touchdowns and only the 6 interceptions. That is
Yeah,
good. That is good. Okay, his passer rating is well over 110. He is doing outstanding at home. That's going to be tough for the Commanders to control.
yeah.
Can Jaden Daniels match him quarterback for quarterback numbers in this game? We're going to find out. But I got Detroit winning this game, going to the
And
championship.
and the Lions are more disciplined than the Buccaneers. That's how I see it too,
Right,
because
right.
Baker Mayfield couldn't get the job done. There was a lot of mistakes in that game, even on both teams. So absolutely. Let's go ahead and move on to the Eagles and the Rams here. Eagles went ahead and beat the Packers 22-10. And then now the Rams, well, they handled their business against the Vikings, the silent Vikings. I even thought Daniel Jones was going to play that game for what it's crazy. However, it doesn't matter. It's the Eagles and the Rams. And this one's left me scratching my head because Philadelphia's favorite is 6.5. But then the Rams look totally different than the first half of the NFL season.
Yeah.
You have to experience people there that played in the Super Bowl. And it seems like they got things in order with the Rams, but they're at Philadelphia. And Philadelphia ran all over the Rams when they met this year. And they got the Eagles got a lot of firepower. I to me, I feel like the Eagles are the better team. But when you look at this, the last two playoff times that the Eagles and Rams face each other, the Rams always found a way to win. Could this be the same scenario?
If you're asking me, I say yes.
You think that the Rams could pull this off?
Yes, I'm going for the upset here on the Rams. All statistics lead to the Eagles winning this game. Everything. Okay, I can't argue stat for stat Rams versus the Eagles because the Eagles' stats are better offensively, defensively, special teams, everything. They're better than the Rams. They even beat the Rams in LA this year, 37-20. But in that game, Stafford had a better game than Jalen Hurts. Okay, Kyron Williams rushed for 72 yards with a touchdown. They had the potential to win that game, but they didn't. The Eagles, on the other hand, they can't be beat at home. They were 5.5-point favorite against the Atlanta Falcons really early in the year at home, and the Falcons went in there, pulled the upset. The Rams will go in there and pull the upset and beat these Eagles and send the Eagles packing and send them right down the road because they will be at home. They don't have to go no further. So the Rams will put, they had since, going towards the end of the season, the Rams offense finished the season ranked higher than the Eagles offense. Okay, going down the stretch. Okay, I have more confidence in Matthew Stafford than I do Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts doesn't look like he's really putting himself out there to wanting to win anything. He's relying more on Saquon Barkley. Stafford has a whole slew of offensive players he can rely on. He doesn't have to, he's not one-dimensional. He's universal here. To me, I think the Eagles are almost one-dimensional with Saquon Barkley. He may get something, but he's not going to get all of it. I think this is going to be a dogfight, and you're putting a Chihuahua in here with a German Shepherd, and the Chihuahua is going to bite him so hard. The Chihuahua is going to bite him so hard, he's going to have this German Shepherd yelping away. Give me the Rams for the upset.
All right. I'm gonna change my I won't change my pick. I'm going the opposite direction. I'm gonna go by what you said, stat wise, and everything else falls on the Eagles.
It does. You're right.
Eagles are 8-1 at home, and I just
Mhm.
got a feeling they're gonna continue that way. And Yeah, yeah. I got the Eagles, man. I want the Rams. I'm gonna root for the Rams, but I'm picking the Eagles. I know I'm sounding ridiculous right now, but this is the game I don't have any confidence in my pick.
I mean, you look at these. I mean, to me, and this is just me. I mean, you can completely
Yeah,
disagree.
yeah. It's you. It's just you.
I just feel that the Rams are the better road team in these four matchups.
I think the spread is too big. I will go for the Rams 6.5. That's me. I think that is going to be a closer game. I don't think now. I really do believe that this is going to be a closer game than it's closer than 6.5. I really do. And if you're the betting man, your safe bet. Pick the Rams 6.5. What you got to lose?
No, I hear you. And if I'm not mistaken, the Rams are, I think, on a 5-game road winning streak so far this year. I mean, they started off the season really bad, losing in Detroit. They lost in
Well,
Arizona,
well,
and they
let's
lost
look
at
at the
Chicago.
places that they've won. They beat the Jets. I'm going backwards. Jets, 49ers,
Okay, that's
Saints,
2. That's 3. The
uh,
Patriots,
and the Patriots,
and then the
and
Seahawks.
then the Seahawks.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they did lose to Chicago. And again, like the first 5 weeks, the Rams were 1-4. What did that
Right.
remind you of? What does that remind you of?
Almost remember what the Giants did in 2011.
The Giants started the season 0-2. They finished in a 9-7 record, and they ended up winning the Super Bowl, stopping the undefeated New England Patriots.
So you're 1-4 to start the season. You finished 10-7. So you went
Damn.
9-3 down the road, right down the stretch, 9-3 with 5 wins on the road.
Hey, I still think, and I'm still hating why Saquon Barkley couldn't break that record. I'm tempted to change and say Rams, but I'm gonna stay with Eagles.
Nah,
I'm not doing that.
I'm going with the Rams. I'm staying with the Rams.
I'm taking Rams 6.5, so I don't care what you say.
RAMS, 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 Rams. I just started a new chant.
Yeah, there you go. All right, that's our pick. Who you guys got? Leave your comments below. I want to say a big shout out to our listener there, Joe Pardini, who made his pick. He's a Penn State fan. Yep. And
I'm sorry.
if he's a Penn State fan, he might be going for Ohio State.
Yeah,
Or if he's a real hater, then he'll be going for Notre Dame. And then he says Buffalo versus Houston for the AFC Championship. I disagree, but if that goes, I'll give you a better shout out next week when we go ahead and talk about the AFC NFC Conference Championship. Yeah, I love it. But hey, stay tuned because we're closing this show up and we're jumping on to another show, which is the Hard Hitting Wrestling Show, is the HHW Show podcast that's coming up. You want to tune into that on your favorite YouTube or Facebook or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast platform. We're coming in live in a few minutes. But other than that, thank you for watching the All Four Downs podcast. Until next week, good luck, everyone. Be safe. Enjoy your weekend. Gotta love some football.
Yeah.
Yeah.